All right, good morning. It is today Wednesday? Wednesday, August 2nd? Is that correct? Or is it Tuesday? How am I so lost? What day is it? It's Wednesday. Wednesday, August 2nd. I'll be looking at overall the daily chart, and then we're gonna grind our way down and take a look. As you can see, past 3 days have been pretty choppy. Definitely taken a bit of a toll on me when it comes to trading. I've been red. And I'm looking to bounce back from that. But without further ado, I'm gonna get some music playing here. And we're gonna start looking at some levels. So on the hourly chart, we have trended up. Been on this uptrend. Kind of in this channel here. We are coming down to the bottom of this channel, so really curious to see if we get a bounce from there. And as I look at the hourly chart, it looks like overnight we have broken out of this channel. So we might see quite a bit of a sell-off today. I would not be surprised at all, since we have broken out of this larger trend that we've been in for a while. So looking at that, we have I'll mark some levels from yesterday, just the highs and the lows. Have the high of yesterday. We have the low of yesterday. Yeah, you can see that the high and the low are not even $2 apart. We had pretty choppy price action yesterday. But I'm gonna mark these regardless, even though we are quite a ways below them in the aftermarket, so I'm not sure that we'll see those levels. My guess is that we won't. I'm gonna turn on the music, it's pretty loud. There we go, that's much better. Alright. Now, one thing that I will point out is that the past, since pretty much yesterday's pre-market, we have made lower highs and lower lows. So here's a high, here's a low, here's a lower high. It's kind of another, so we have a high, we have a low, we have a lower high, we have a lower low, we have a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I expect this to continue. I'm looking at some areas, we do have some big price swings in here. I would say that we're probably looking at, for sure, an area here for 54.5 that we would need to break above to have any sort of semblance of an uptrend, as that's our most recent low high. That makes sense. Like our most recent swing high that we had was this, if we want to catch the exact top. But you can see this was kind of an area of support. We broke below it, we rejected off of it. So that 454.5 area is one that I would be watching if we do approach it. If we wanted to recover from this downtrend, that's certainly something that we'd have to look at. Right off the bat, something that I would consider is this downtrend that we had on the, or excuse me, this trend line that we had formed on the daily chart that we have broken out of. in today's time frame correlates with yesterday's low of day pretty well. I don't know if we'll get up that high. I kind of doubt it. But if we do reach this level, that's a serious area to watch for a rejection and a bounce. I'm gonna mark the low of the pre-market. So we have the pre-market low there. As we saw here, we kind of came down, found support. When we broke through, we retested and failed. Similarly, we can see a breakdown, a retest of this support. So that's something to watch for as well. So I am going to go into this this 15-minute chart and just make some zones here. So I really like looking at that zone in there. You can see we came down, acted as support, demand, broke through, couldn't break through it again, failed, tried to test it, failed, tried to test it, failed. So it's a big area to watch. Another I'd probably point out is here. So that's kind of a bigger area. It's about a 25-cent zone to watch there. And I will mark this just because it was swing low. As far as that goes, you can see that low on the pre-market is starting to kind of coincide with some areas that we've bounced before. If I extend this out, it's really hard to see where I got it actually at this point. I think that's a little off, I'll correct it, but you can see that we had a projection from that area, a bounce from that area, another bounce from that area, another bounce. So if we break below this, that would be a big indication. If we break below this 451.6, it's probably a little off, so maybe 451.7 or so. If we break below that, I am really looking to continue downwards. If that is the case, then we will probably see somewhere down here, like that 450 level would be a big one to watch. But yeah, overall we were kind of in this upward channel. We've broken out of it. I would not be surprised to see a sell-off today, and maybe have a bit of a pullback for the next few days or so. But loaded up on SPY puts at 449. So you're taking that out of the money bet, huh? You think we're on drop? We certainly could. I think 450 would be a big support level for us. And like I said, I'm really watching this 451.5, as you can see that we've bounced there a few times. If we break below that, yeah, I think we could certainly see that 450, 449 area. But yeah, just as I'm looking at it though, this is that whole zone in there. You can see how we've reacted to that. So that's kind of what I'm really looking for. If we can break through there, that signals some serious downward momentum. So that's something that I'll watch on the hourly chart, is if we are approaching that area for sure. My assumption, we at least get like a short-term bounce from there. If we just blow right through that, that would be pretty impressive. That being said though, I'm going to pull up trading view here. Kind of looks like a mess, I know, with all these levels and trend lines. I have a bit of a crowded screen at the moment. AB, are you looking to swing those? I'm guessing you're swinging that trade. I saw somewhere, I think it was on Twitter, that said like SPY puts are the cheapest that they've ever been or something, or like in recent memory, which just seems insane. But I think there's definitely like a asymmetric bet on that. I don't know how we would keep just pumping in the current kind of economic landscape that we're in. All right, I might look at 452 puts for a potential bounce down here if we want to catch that. Or sorry, calls. Those 452 calls for a potential bounce in this area. I'm gonna get rid of this because I have overlapping zones there. Puts, I'll look at 452 puts as well. Yes, very true. Yeah, that's what I was hearing. I did not swing any puts. I don't think it's a bad idea though. Like I said, it seems like a pretty low risk to potentially extremely high reward there. So I hope that plays out for you. Definitely some selling off right off the open. I don't really expect us to have much support until we get down in this area. I would expect a bounce in this area, at least just temporarily. If I were to speculate, I would assume that we come down into this area, have a bounce, make a lower high, and then potentially continue downwards. That's speculation. That would be what I'd like to see play out. We'll just have to see. If we break below this area, I'm definitely looking for a retest. If we just break right through it with no bounce, then I would look for us to come up and retest this area for potential rejection and continuation of the move downward. So still just selling off real strong. About 50 cents or so before we reach this area. It's acted as a strong demand before. If we're looking at this hourly chart, you can kind of see price reactions that we've gotten at this area, whether it be a strong rejection there, strong bounces here and here, and even in the pre-market. So first area that I'm watching. If we come down, we show some failure to break below this. I will likely take 452 call since we're right at that area, and just look for a quick scalp. If we could get a quick scalp, get it from out of the money to in the money, we might see the premiums react nicely on a smaller move. But ultimately, I don't want to have a bias, but we are in a downtrend, and I would like to look for a lower high to catch puts on and continuation downward. But I would be shocked if we didn't have some sort of a bounce at this level. So we'll just have to see once we come down into it. Looks like we are finding a little bit of support at this 452.5 level, pretty much the bottom of the first candle. You can see that we wicked below it, but we're struggling to get that candle close below it, or that body below it. And there we go. We'll have to see how this plays out, but there's a chance that we get a little bit of a bounce prior to reaching this area, which could happen there. You can see we're pretty much red across the board with the big tech stocks. Those have been driving this S&P 500. So for red across the board, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, you know, if those are struggling, then we could expect to see some struggle in SPY as well. Got about a minute left in this candle. Still kind of struggling to make a continuation downwards at this point. I might mark this line as our swing low for the moment. We have some volume coming in on this bounce here. I really didn't expect much of a bounce until we got down into this level, so it's a little interesting. So I'll sit and see how this plays out though. So it looks like we might come up and test kind of the area that we opened at. We do have the high of day pretty much like right where we opened up here. 15 cents below this pre-market zone that I had marked, which was a swing low in the pre-market, and we retested right before open and kind of fell from there. I'm not really looking to take any trades unless we come down in this area, show some sort of semblance of a trend. If we break a lower low, create lower highs. Just kind of letting things play out. So what a bounce we got from this pretty arbitrary area here. Looks like we kind of got a bounce in that area in the pre-market, but pretty wild. So it looks like we might come up and retest this area that we rejected off of right before open. We do have some serious volume coming in supporting this. We have set a new high pretty much right at that level, and you can see we're rejecting off of it. Got 30 seconds or so until this candle closes, but look at the volume jumping in. Pretty impressive. So definitely some selling happening up here. We pushed up, retested, and that body got pushed down pretty hard. So if we come up and retest this area, I might look for puts off that, just based off the price reaction that we had once we got to it. And just looking pre-market, we had a huge bounce off that level. We rejected once, now twice. If we start pushing up again and retest it, that could be a potential area for a put, looking for at least continuation down to this low a day that we had. So not sure that we'll get that retest. While I'm watching this, I do want to look at something. I know AMD reported earnings. I want to see. Yeah, they had a bit of a sell-off. I was curious. So still have a little less than 2 minutes left in this candle. We're getting some movement now, but the volume's significantly lower than what we've seen. Still some time for that to come in, but just an interesting thing to note. We had some pretty high volume on that push up into this area. About a minute left now. And we'll see where we go from here. I was hoping that now that we've broken out of, previous day ranges, an established sort of a downtrend. I was hoping we'd have a trendier, less choppy day. Just looking at the first 20 minutes or so of the day, not sure we're gonna get that. Still early, but this has definitely been pretty choppy. Definitely looking for us to clear these lows here on this. I want to continue downwards. But since this point, I mean, we made a higher high and higher lows, so we'll see. Retesting that low from 2 candles ago. Pretty much bounced right off of it. Still got like 3 minutes left in this candle though, so there's plenty of time. And we already have, you know, more subsequent volume than the previous candle, so could see a bit more of a move out of this one. There's some volume coming in, pushing that down a little bit further. We saw that spike, that jump in volume that coincided with the candle kind of pushing down farther. We'll see if that momentum is maintained. Looks like it might be. Then the next test would be, do we get a break of this current low of day? And then if we do, how do we react to this level down here? That's kind of the first area that I'm looking for. So yeah, nothing really to trade here. If you look at where we opened and where we're at, it's a 20-cent difference. Come all the way down, bounce all the way up, come down, start recovered. It's a lot of chop again today. Just be patient and see if we can get some sort of direction or indication of a move in one way or the other. But currently I'm not interested in trading any of this. There's not really anything to trade. It's pretty unpredictable. I mean, you could have looked at a rejection off here. If you got these 453 puts at a retest of this area that we rejected off right before open, and that moved below 453, you got a pretty good move on that. But that didn't really fit into my trading criteria. I would have taken a trade here had we shown this rejection and then retested again. But overall, that's probably the only justifiable trade that I've seen this morning. We kind of got a bounce off of an area that wasn't really too clear. I guess you could have maybe said, you know, on the 15-minute you have some support there, but with this large area of demand / support right below it, not necessarily something I'd be looking at right there. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we don't just get chopped around all day today like we have the past 3 days or whatever it's been. Be brutal. But we got a lot of earnings coming out this week. So if we do get chopped around, it's Probably correlated to that. Seems likely that, you know, before long we're gonna have a big move, especially now that we're in this upward channel. We've broken out of that. We've been trending high for so long, I expect to pull back at some point. When that does happen, eventually, that could be a big move to watch out for, but there's nothing really to do here. I suppose that level that we bounced off is shown on the 15-minute and the 1 hour. So as we had this level from a large spike there, we could have caught that potentially. I think that would be pretty risky. I was looking at this swing low for potential bounce. Just trying to look back and see if there's things I may have missed pre-market when I was analyzing some of this. So I was trying to understand why price reacts when it does, where it does. But noticing how frequently some of these pre-market like swing highs and swing lows have been coming into play the past couple days, especially yesterday. It was the biggest move. You know, we had this swing high here, we came up and retested it, and that was like the biggest move all day before we kind of just chopped around. And so far, you know, this bounce off support and retest of that pre-market other swing low has been really biggest move of the day so far. But this is disgusting. This is actually it's no longer a trading stream. This is just a lo-fi enjoyer stream. We just come here to listen to lo-fi together. We're not actually trading. Maybe I should have traded AMD. Took some puts off the open. It's insane. It's what a drop, huh? $8, even more. Right around $8 drop so far. It's just been bleeding out. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I guess you could have looked at this pre-market swing low, broke below it, retested, continued down. Not a bad trade there. All right, let's go back to SPY though. All right, we're getting a little bit of movement. There we go. Let's see if we can break this low that we've set. It's pretty interesting to see how expensive the premium is on these calls here. They are in the money, but comparatively to like these puts, you know, we're at 1.8 premium or so, about 50 cents in the money. These calls are also about 50 cents in the money. It's 210, 212. Even when the price is moving against this, you know, we still have pretty high premium on that. It's kind of interesting to note. All right, so we are getting some volume coming in. We are breaking below this low of day, or at least retesting it here. Pushing below it. There we go. Finally getting some movement. Like I said, I'm looking for a potential bounce for a scalp down in here. Not something I would hold long term, but this has been a level that we've bounced off of quite a few times. You can see it was a big demand area in the pre-market. We had a huge rally up from that point. So I'd be looking to grab a 452 call if we come down and test this area and fail to break below it. I'd like to see one candle come, fail to break it, and then take an entry on a subsequent candle. But there we go. We have some volume. We have some selling off coming into this area that I'm watching. Finally getting some movement here. It's beautiful. Beautiful to watch. If you did catch puts up here and held through all this, congratulations. You have quite a return on your hands. All right, about 20 seconds left in this handle here. Let's see if we get down into this zone. We're pushing right into it. All right, almost getting to it. So new candle printing now. Pushing down into it. Not quite to it yet. Looks like we'll come down and test that 452. Bounce pretty much right off of it. There we go. Testing that area. So ideally for me, I'd like to see us push into this area, show buyers present in the area, and close either in this area or slightly above it. And then on a following candle, come down, retest. That's where I'd enter for a potential bounce. As you can see, there are some buyers present down there. Volume stepping in, the price is getting pushed up a little bit. In my own trading system, I would like to see at least one candle close and confirm what I'm looking for. So I'm not taking a trade yet, trying to stay patient. We might get a reversal or a bounce before we get that retest, but if I'm looking at this 15-minute chart, you can see that we had quite a bit of like consolidation down in this area before we reversed. Not necessarily looking for a reversal again, but I would be very interested in trying to catch a bounce out of this area at the very least. About 2.5 minutes left. So you can see that volume coming in, the reaction on the price there. We touched 452 pretty much on the dot. Does look like there's some buyers present in this area. I wouldn't expect a little bit more consolidation in here before we have some sort of move one way or another. Pushing down and testing it again. The more that we test this area and fail to break it is more confirmation for me to take a quick scalp off this. Depending on the move that we get coming out of this area, if it does bounce, you know, I might try to just keep a stop loss, like a trailing stop loss, and let it run. If we see a bounce like that, obviously I don't want to cut it too soon. So kind of right at the end of the candle, about 10 seconds left, we're really pushing down into this area, which is interesting to watch. Volume's really coming in. We have a new candle opening up here. I might look to take a call as we're in this area. I probably could have waited a little bit. Like I said, I'd expect us to see a bit more consolidation in here. But I probably could have been a little bit more patient on that entry. The push down, I'm gonna give this a second. We're blowing right through it. We do have quite a bit of a zone here. If I pull back and look at the hourly chart, we do have this zone here that we've bounced off pretty strong before. So I want to have a little bit more patience. Before just cutting this, but I do also want to try to manage risk. I definitely entered a little early on this. I could have waited. I think looking at higher time frames and seeing kind of the consolidation that we've had in this area, you know, could have allowed me to be a little bit more patient in terms of taking this entry, and I would have gotten a better fill had I done that as well. So not a perfect trade so far on my part. And I apologize, we have construction going on outside my apartment, so I might mute unless I have something to say. Sorry about that. You can see the volume coming in, you can see the price action. This has been a huge area in terms of price moving out of this area in a big swing. So one to be a little bit more patient. You can kind of see this is the sort of thing that I would be looking for in terms of confirming this trade. Super high volume, failure to break lower. This is kind of textbook for what I'm looking for here. So we're in this trade. Give it some time, and hopefully we see some move to the upside. This is counter to the trend, so not something that I expect to hold super long term, but I would like to see, obviously we have buyers stepping in, I would like to see price push up a bit, see if we can't get a decent return out of this. Yeah, depending on what price action's looking like. You know, if we push up, stall out, I might cut. If we're showing strength to the upside, looking like we have a reversal, I will just manage things with a stop loss and see if I can't let it run. I only have one contract open, so not a ton of flexibility there for me to play with. But yeah, I would expect to see a bounce out of this area just based on kind of the volume and the price action that we've had previously as well as today so far. So I'm gonna remute. They're sawing the concrete, so pretty loud. All right, we'll see how this plays out. See you. Could see a potential further push up from here. This was my price target though, the previous swing low. If I had more than one contract here, I would have taken my first profit target here and, you know, set a stop loss and tried to allow for runners. Looking at the volume, looking at the 15-minute chart, I think there is a chance that we push higher. I had profit and I had a pretty bad entry. I entered right around 452 and my entry price was 185 or 186. So if you look at that entry price, we didn't get a lot of movement from there. Had I been a little bit more patient and I caught somewhere on this candle here, you know, if I got in the 170s, then that would have been more of like a $30 move to this price target here. So a bit more of a better percentage return wise, or return percentage wise, I guess would be a better way to put that. But what I saw was sort of falling volume. We did push up and touch this area. We are trading counter to the trend. So those were kind of the reasons. I did say that it was a scalp. I wasn't looking to hold this position super long unless we showed a ton of strength coming out of here. If we just blew past this level, then I would have held longer. But some of the hesitancy here was because it was counter to the trend, even though we were in this, you know, this support zone that is held pretty well. We did break out of our overall uptrend in the pre-market. We are trending down today, so wasn't something I was trying to hold. The trade worked out as I'd like. I ideally would have had a little bit more patience and got a better entry, and that would have allowed me to have a better return on that trade. But it did work out. Looking at the time now, that might be the only trade I take today. I'll probably stick around for another 20 minutes or so and see if anything happens here. But overall, I'm happy with that. Just, I think something that I could have noted is an area like this that's prominent on higher time frames, such as the 15-minute and the 1 hour. I think something that I deal with, and I'm just gonna make this clear. So what I was looking at was the pre-market swing low, but also you can see that we've had significant bounces from this area and rejections before. So, and that's on the higher time frames. So I think just with that in my mind, knowing that, you know, we'll probably consolidate for at least, you know, a few minutes before we make any sort of move. I could have been a little bit more patient, got a perfect entry. Rarely are trades ever perfect. But in this scenario, you know, if I were to redo something, I think it would have just been a little bit more patient in getting a better fill on that entry. But overall on the day, it was not, like I said, the premiums didn't move that well. I thought getting a 452 when we were below 452 and then having that push up above would cause the premiums to move well. But they really were kind of stagnant. As you can see in here, I mean, it's not a huge move that we got, but, you know, I expected returns to possibly be a little bit better than what we saw. But with that being said, let's see what we have on the day. We have a $14 profit. That's smaller than what I would like, but we are trading with one contract. Here you see we're getting a bit of a push up. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of chop around in this area before any sort of move up or down happens. But yeah, other than that, you know, we see kind of textbook volume profile in terms of high volume on this hammer where we wick down, fail to break it, close up in here. Even an entry on this candle here as we dip down a little bit, entering in here and then riding that up to that first profit target could have been a good play. But even there, the swing in price is pretty small. So I thought we'd get a better move, busting out of that 452 area and being in the money. However, we didn't really. But can't be mad with a winning trade. Like I said, that might be the only trade I take today. We'll see how the next 20 minutes or so play out, but just kind of a live review of why I took that, what I was thinking. I'm a little shocked that we didn't get more of a move out of there. I was kind of hoping that we might, retest somewhere up in here, 453 maybe. But I'm glad I took profit where I did, because you can see we're struggling to break that area. And we're actually currently lower than where my entry price was, so I would be red on this trade currently. Yeah, volume's kind of dying down in here, so we might just chop around before we get any sort of a move, continuation downwards, or potential bounce. But it's not looking so good. If you're looking for the upside here, is we do seem like we're selling off pretty strongly, failing to break that previous low. So just to recap, it wasn't a perfect trade. I wish I would have caught puts off here because that was a much better return. But I didn't. That didn't really hit my criteria. If we'd come up and retested again, I probably would have taken that trade. Yeah, overall, I'd give myself maybe a B plus on that. Should have been a little bit more patient, but it did kind of hit my criteria for taking that trade. So, all right, I might put myself back on mute. As you can hear, we have a lot of construction going on outside. So, unless something comes up, unless I'm taking a trade or I see something that I want to point out, I'm gonna go on mute and just hang out for the next 10-15 minutes or so. All right, see you guys. won't get it here, but it looks like we are potentially looking at breaking through this area. If we do, I expect, you know, to see some momentum downwards, and then a retest of this area is a lower high for puts to continue down would be not a bad play on that, but you definitely want to see a strong break of this area. As you can see, it's holding its support pretty well right now. Volume's kind of fallen off a cliff here. Here we go. It looks like we're breaking below it, but definitely would want to see a pretty like definitive close and break below this area. As you can see, we wicked down all the way down to this point before we got pushed back up. So would like to see a convincing break out of this area and close below it, like we're seeing here. Exactly like we're seeing here. If we have strong push down, rising volume, a retest of this area is a lower high before we continue down, would be a very, very possible trade to take. So watch how this plays out, and then see if we don't push back up into this area to retest it once we've broken it. Not sure I'll be around to take that trade, but that would be probably one of the better trades to take if it plays out. We've made a strong break out of this area, so that's what I'm looking for, is a convincing break out of that area that was demand slash support. Excuse me, sorry for that. If we have a retest of this area, I would look for puts probably down to 451 or so. It also depends on where we bottom out before slash if we come up and retest this area. So if we form a new low here, come up and retest this area, personally, I would be looking for puts and a continuation down to that previous low. So we're in a downtrending day. You know, if you can catch these lower highs, you have an opportunity here to make a pretty good return. That's what I would be looking for from here on out. stick around for a little bit longer and see if we can't get that to happen. As I would like to take one more trade if we could get that set up, but that is what I'm currently watching. Close, well, I guess we got a little under a minute, but you can see rising volume. We broke out of that really strong. I suppose you could have taken puts at the retest of this previous low, as we have made lower lows and lower highs. I did not take puts at this level because we were at this kind of demand support zone. So that risk to reward for me wasn't really checking out, which may be funny to say because I did take call here for quick bounce. With that being said, though, I would look for a retest of this area. So we have strong volume, confirmed downtrend. You know, this has been a strong support area in the past. Coming up and retesting this area for continuation downwards would probably be the move that I'd look to play. If we get a retest, we might not. So it looks like we found, you know, some sort of support right at that 451 area. We'll see if we make it back up to this zone that I'm targeting for an entry. If we do, I would target 451 as the exit. So looking to take 451 puts at a retest of this area, look for continuation down to 451. That would be my take profit. I am probably going to step away. I need to get to work. I was waiting to see if we'd come up and retest this area for continuation down. It doesn't look like it. We have a strong downtrending day. I didn't really capture any of the downtrend, so that's something that I'll need to revisit today and understand, you know, why I was doing that. I didn't take puts here because we had this demand zone that we'd bounced off of, and I didn't want to take that risk with that right there below us. But it would have worked out beautifully had you done so. You know, it was a retest of a lower low. Generally, that would have been an excellent time to enter puts on a downtrend. But we did have this big support area on a higher time frame, so that wasn't something that I looked at. I was looking for us to break that zone and then retest that zone in particular. We might get that later in the day, but right now we're showing some serious strength to the downside. AB, I don't think you're still in here. I don't know if you are. You said you had SPY puts at 449. My friend, we're only $1.50 away. I'm sure those SPY prints have absolutely blasted in your favor. So congratulations, my friend. If you're not here, then just know that I'm thinking about you as I'm watching this sell off. All right. That being said, everybody, I hope you have a good day. Thanks for stopping in, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Peace.